Hey guys, my name is Ricky Main. I'm with Main Farms. We do grass-fed beef. We also do some pork. I just got into the adaptive grazing about 2-3 weeks ago. I swapped to it. I was just doing pasture grazing, and I wasn't doing grass-fed beef. I was doing grass-fed grain finished, but I decided to go 100% grass-fed, grass finished when I started reading about adaptive grazing and the techniques you use, and changing the way you can finish out beef by doing that versus what I'd been doing, just conventional grazing, conventional farming. So but I just wanted to show you what the conventional farming looks like on these pastures. I'm going to turn the camera around. So here's what the pasture looks like on conventional farming. You see here, you see these grazed down low spots. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very low, probably 2 to 3 inches in most spots, and this is with rest. I mean, this hasn't been grazed in a little while, since I've been doing the adaptive grazing, and you can still see it's very short in spots where they've kept it down, and then you got spots right next to it that they haven't grazed at all. And that's conventional farming. I mean, you can come right here, this pasture, there's several bald spots. I mean, you really short spots, and then you can walk right over here to the other side of the pasture, and it's a spot that they never touch. I mean, it's knee deep in spots. I mean, you can see there's spots over here where it's knee deep. They don't come over here. I mean, they don't hardly come in here. I mean, you can see it's knee deep on me over here, and they don't graze it. We got some native grasses here, blue stem. It's kind of drying up, but that's kind of what I was trying to prevent, is all this waste and them overgrazing spots and not grazing other spots. So that's why I've kind of went to the rotational grazing. So we're at the spot now where I first started with adaptive grazing. I was trying to figure out exactly how big my paddocks should be, and trying to figure all that stuff out. And my first paddocks was a little large. You can kind of see on the grass, I don't know how well you can see that, but they did, get it down pretty good, but it's still pretty tall. And then if you come over here, just right over here, you can see they left a lot of stuff. Some of the blue stem, they're not big on eating the blue stem, but if you do the adaptive grazing, you keep them there, they'll eat it down. They will eat it. But if you give them the choice, they would rather not. But if you make them stay there, they're going to take care of it. They're going to clean it up. So this spot here that you can see all that in there, this was the first couple paddocks, and I just made them too big. And so when I get over here, I started making them smaller, and you can see they really cleaned it up. The only thing they left really is I have some persimmon trees that, of course, they're not going to eat. I've been thinking about mixing some goats or sheep in with it to get them to eat it. But I was walking around and looking at, there's new stuff coming up that that wasn't here previously. So I'm very excited about how this is working. And I don't know if you can see on the other end of the pasture, but there's T-post, and there's a hot wire going across it, and that's what I've been coming off of and building my paddocks, just bringing them over here and bringing them to the tree line and going back. So they're the same length every time, pretty much. I've just been figuring out how narrow or how wide to make them. So I think I've got it down pretty good. But like I said, it was just learning, and that's why it's called adaptive grazing, because you have to adapt. I mean, what paddock may be this size today, next week or a couple weeks from now, we don't have any rain, I may have to make them bigger. So it's called adaptive grazing for that reason, and you just got to figure out what works for your you know, how much grass you got on the ground, how many cattle you're running. You just got to figure that out. So I think I finally figured that out now. But again, you know, you may have to adapt it later. So anyway, that's what I've learned.